we were hoping we picked a song that we think everybody will know, so we can sing along with it. It's a very lovely song that was written by Peggy Lee, a good friend of Charles Fillmore.
Charles Fillmore, they were very good friends. Well, it's a good day for singing a song, and it's a good day for moving along. And it's a good day. How could anything go wrong? It's a good day from morning till night. It's a good day for shining your shoes. It's a good day for losing the blues. It's a good day. You got nothing to lose. Good day from morning till night. Well, I said to the sun, good morning, sun. Rise and shine today. You know you gotta get going if you're gonna make a showing. Yeah, you got the right of way. It's a good day for paying your bills. It's a good day for losing no bills. Take a deep breath, throw away those bills. It's a good day from morning till night. Well, I said to the sun, good morning, sun. Rise and shine today. You know you gotta get going if you're gonna make a showing. Yeah, you got the right of way. It's a good day for singing a song, and it's a good day for moving along. It's a good day, feeling so strong. It's a good day from morning till night. It's a good day from morning till night. It's a good day from morning till night. Ooh. Little Peggy Lee.
Such a happy song.
It is a very happy song. Thank you for that. Great opening. So I'd like to invite our practitioner of the day, Leslie Massopust, to do our opening prayer, and she sent me some lovely quotes that I'll share. So welcome, Leslie.
Okay, let's close our eyes and join together in consciousness, in that connection with the divine power in our lives. And as we look around our lives, we see the beauty, and we know it is like the trees that we see that are so tall and stately and beautiful in their array of colors. The trees which so gracefully let go of those colorful leaves to be swept away in the wind of change. For we know that these are representative of us, that we have to be willing to let go of the old to make way for the new. And we know that one of the ways that we do it is by being able to hear and participate in this service today. For it is the learning of and the use of the principles of science of mind that allows to make those changes that increase our consciousness and increase that connection with the divine. And for this, we are so very, very thankful. And so it is. Okay. The first quote I selected is from Rumi, and it is, "The beauty you see in me is a reflection of you." And then a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: never lose an opportunity of seeing anything beautiful, for beauty is God's handwriting. So let's take a minute here to once again go within and think about all the beauty that we have around us. And we now come back to this room of digital technology as we take a look at November's affirmation. I am so grateful today. Today, I allow gratitude to open doors and close old ones. I am grateful for everything, every little thing, every big thing. I am grateful that Spirit is with me, expressing as me. Today, I allow my grateful heart to trust and to live in faith. I am so grateful, and so it is.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, and welcome anybody who popped on when we were in the middle of our opening prayer, Gisela. So we have some more music by the Levins. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Hello. So we are going to play a song called Caravan of Dawn. And it does have a theme of beauty in it. And the chorus comes around a few times. And
We selected it because we thought it was right in line with today's message. It's actually something we use as a meditation and a mantra for ourselves and in different settings. The chorus is, beauty has claimed you. Seasons have changed you.
this moment reveals you.
This moment reveals you, but nothing conceals you. Not really a but, really. It's
Side by side, wide as the horizon, giddy as a bride, the universe inside them. There's a caravan of dawn, lighting up the curve, always moving on, breaking up the darkness with an aviary song, singing beauty has claimed you. Seasons have changed you. This moment reveals you. Nothing conceals you. Light up the streets, lighting up the fields,
Oh, that was beautiful. Did you write that tune?
We did. We did.
Beautiful.
So
Really
we'll send you-
lovely.
Thank you. We'll send you an MP3 that you can share with everybody. And
Oh, nice. Thank you. I love that line. Beauty is claimed to, seasons have changed to. How true is that? Really lovely. Thank you so much. Oh, so good morning again. Good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind, Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. This morning, as our monthly theme suggests, I introduced the monthly theme last week. We continue to breathe in the view. That's our monthly theme. And this morning's message is seeing beauty, feeling grace. And I was saying to the people in the meditation earlier that all week I've been thinking about how beauty and grace are related and how one can effortlessly lead us into the other, without our even really realizing it, And I have to apologize. I thought I had sent the quotes to Jean and I guess I didn't. So I'm going to speak my quotes. I can't put them up on the screen or in the chat, but if you would like to have the quotes afterwards, I'd be happy to send them to you. But I have a quote from the Science of Mind text. It's actually in the glossary. Ernest Holmes, our founder, writes about grace and he wrote, "Grace is." And we need to recognize it. It's not something God imposed on us. And here's where I really think he goes in. He says, but is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and a correct relationship to the Spirit. A logical result of the correct acceptance of life and a correct relationship to Spirit. I love that. And as I read Holmes' idea of grace, I realized what a wonderful bridge beauty can be to the correct acceptance of life and the relationship of Spirit. Beauty holds our hand, as we walk with grace, as we move into the experience of grace. As human beings, as humans, we're these remarkable beings, we have our feet in two worlds. I always like to say that because it's so true. We're born from a divine idea and we're expressed into physical form, and for the purpose, at least I believe this to be true, of experiencing the divine in the playground. And it really is a playground in physical form. Everything in the material world is really our playground. Holmes called it the manifest body of God, and I love that. And we are a part of it, of this divine inheritance. We're gifted with the ability to bring meaning and purpose into our physical reality. And I think that's quite a gift to be able to bring the meaning and the purpose of the divine into our humanness. And we also have these remarkable senses, these five senses. I led us through a meditation talking about how we experience our world through these five senses, and these senses are how we gather information about what's going on in the physical world. And then that's translated through these electrical impulses to our brain so that we can understand and we can experience our physical reality in an infinite variety of ways. The entire experience of living a human life is this incredible journey and this incredible creative opportunity, because we are co-creating with the divine through our human experience. So I'd like to just invite you to just stop for a minute, just for a moment, and recall with me a time when something beautiful caught your attention. It might have been a sight or a sound or a touch or a fragrance, a taste. There are so many different ways that we can experience beauty. And if you can't immediately recall something, then use your imagination and make something up. So just take a moment and just think of something that puts you in the experience of beauty. Do you have something? Do you feel the experience of beauty fill you up? You know, it could be anything. But what is one of the first things that we say when we have the experience of beauty? We say, oh my God, you know, oh, it just caught our attention. There we are. And it brings the beauty into our personal experience. And God, it connects us with that something larger than ourselves. You know, beauty opens the door for us to see this underlying order, this underlying intelligence and harmony and love that's woven in and through physical reality. You know, it moves us into the experience of connection. You know, as Holmes put it, he said it moves us into the experience of a correct acceptance of life and a correct relationship to spirit. Oh my God. You know, can you feel your heart just open up when you say, oh my God, and you imagine that you're in the experience of that beauty, whatever it is? I know I can. And while at first, beauty may just seem like a temporary experience of pleasure, it's really so much more. Just like any other spiritual practice, beauty can be a spiritual practice for us. Beauty personalizes the divine for us, and it calls us to a much deeper experience of the gifts that are so freely given by our Creator, by Spirit. You know, experiencing beauty opens us up to divine truth. You know, it calls us to a recognition of that same flowing, that same energy, that same something that flows through whatever it is that we're calling beautiful, that is sparking the experience of beauty in us in the first place. Whatever we perceive as beautiful is in us. It's connected for us. It's rich. It's connected. It enlarges our life, you know, and our perception of it. And it allows us to bring that elevated state of being into our human experience in all different kinds of ways, because we are meaning makers. That's what we are. We bring the meaning of the divine into our humanity, into our humanness. You know, and there are things that jump out at us that seem beautiful. They're obvious, right? A beautiful piece of music that lifts our soul, kind of opens us up. An amazing meal that delights the tongue. You know, a colorful and very peaceful sunrise or sunset that takes our breath away. You know, the feel of our pet's fur as they lick our little faces and they show us unconditional love. Oh, I love that. You know, and these are the obvious things that beauty reveals, right? But as we take time to acknowledge the beauty in these obvious things, we become accustomed to the experience of beauty. And we begin to experience beauty in unexpected places, you know, and in places like, as I said in the meditation, in the middle of an argument, in the face of a crying child. I just spent some time with my little grandkids. It's a challenge to see beauty in the face of a crying child. Maybe a decomposing tree. Is that beautiful? Can you see beauty in that? An elderly person sitting on a park bench, a homeless person on the corner, places that we may have never noticed or looked for beauty before. It's there. And our familiarity with beauty in obvious places awakens our sensibility to the beauty everywhere. Everywhere, in unexpected places and uncommon places that we never would have seen it before. And this, my friends, this is grace. This is what grace is. Seeing that beauty in all things. You know, grace is the loving action of the infinite givingness of spirit into its creation. How many times have we read that? I want you to hear it. Grace is the loving action, the movement of spirit, of the infinite givingness of spirit to its creation. We are its creation. It's the movement and the expansion of life. Grace is flow. You know, I looked up the origin of the word grace, and it comes from the Latin gratia, and it means favor, esteem, regard, pleasing quality, goodwill, gratitude. Of course, we couldn't forget gratitude. And grace is the action of all of these things expressed in the world. Grace opens us up to see God everywhere, to see that, as I said before, that underlying loving order, intelligence, harmony, that moves through all things. It flows through everything. It flows through us. And recognizing beauty in all things moves us into the natural flow of grace. It's an acceptance, a non-resistance, embracing of life. You know, I think reverence is a close relative of beauty. And I talked about that idea last week. It's the idea that what we see from is what we see in the world. You know, Wayne Dyer, that beautiful soul master teacher, I would call him, who's made his transition, once said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And he also said that that's not just a catchy play on words, that it is actually a quantum principle, a creative law. What we observe, what we become, we demonstrate into our physical reality. If we become the embodiment of beauty, we see everything as beautiful. When we revere all life, we see God in all things, in all things. And here's the remarkable thing about that. We don't have to go anywhere to find it. There is a place within us, our divine self, that is the source of beauty, of reverence, of order, intelligence, harmony, love, and on, and so much more. And it requires nothing more than our awareness of it, our conscious connection with it, and to it, to embody and to express these qualities in our human lives, you know, which brings meaning and purpose, the meaning and the purpose of the divine into the physical world. We are literally emissaries of heaven. And it allows us to embrace everything that happens without fear and without resistance. We just embrace what comes and we experience it and we move on. I have another quote that I wanted to share with you. Hang on a minute. I actually wrote it down. So this quote is from the Tao Te Ching, attributed to the master Lao Tzu in the Taoist tradition, and it's verse 29, and he wrote, "Allow your life to unfold naturally. Know that it too is a vessel of perfection. Just as you breathe in and out, there is a time for being ahead and a time for being behind. There is a time for being in motion and a time for being in rest, a time for being vigorous and a time for being exhausted, a time for being safe and a time for being in danger. To the sage, all life is a movement towards perfection. So what need has he for the excessive, the extravagant, or the extreme? Who needs the drama, right? I always say that. All things come and go. All of the things that elate us and all of the things that bring us down come and go. It is in that acceptance, that full acceptance of all things, that we engage with life and we move through life in grace. You know, Lao Tzu is reminding us that everything under heaven is sacred. Every encounter is a holy encounter. And as we love to say in Science of Mind, it's all God. But I have to ask this when I say it's all God. Do we really believe that? You know, as my dear departed friend Jim Reese asked one time, I think it was right at the end of the service, and he said, what if we acted like all this stuff was true? really caught our attention. Huh? What if we acted like all this stuff was true? How would that change our lives? I think it was Reverend Edward Villion who asked, if you were on trial for practicing the science of mind philosophy, would they have enough evidence to convict you? What does your life look like? And what does it mean to act like all this stuff is true? Well, it means that we are so grounded in the divinity that resides within us, that we are so completely embodied in its presence, its qualities, and its state of being, that we can let life be what life is without resistance. That we embrace all things under heaven, that we accept through grace what Holmes invited us to do, to have a correct acceptance of life and a correct relationship with spirit. Or in other words, God is all there is. We are one with it, and we participate with it through the natural flow of law by embracing, allowing, and embodying the good that is our divine inheritance. And we do it without resistance. I think it's in, well, I know because I looked it up. In Ecclesiastes 3, you know, the author that wrote the same wisdom in Lao Tzu in the 29th verse of the Tao Te Ching, the author of Ecclesiastes was saying exactly the same thing when he said, to everything there is a season, to every activity under heaven. You know, we have to embrace that life will bring us things that we love and things that we not so much love, you know, and I think that when I embrace everything that comes my way in life without fear and resistance, without thinking I have to control it and push it and shove it into the way I think it should be, if I realize during my darkest moments that there are going to be moments when life shows me fear and depression and grief and uncertainty and uneasiness, that there are going to be moments when I lose something or someone, moments when I feel exhausted and moments when I feel rested and exhilarated. And if I believe this stuff actually works, then walking through those moments might feel a little bit easier. Not fun, but easier. When I rest in the support of the one that I know is within me, that is the foundational structure of my life, I'm empowered by leaning on the strength of that divine, by moving into it, leaning into it, and recognizing that I am never alone. I am one with this empowering presence that is all there is. So, little caveat, you know, I really want to be clear that accepting what life brings our way isn't playing the victim. You know, it's not just lying down and saying, well, that's just the way it is. It's just the way life is. I remember my parents had these neighbors, lovely people, and they became their friends. They were very nice people, and they were devout, born-again Christians, you know, and that was their path, and it served them very well. But whenever something went wrong in their lives, whatever it was, lost job, you know, injury, lack of finances, whatever it was, I remember that they would always tell my mother, and my mother was very unity at the time, so she would always mention this to me. She would always say that their answer was, well, God just didn't see fit to give us this or that or whatever it was that they needed at the time. But as metaphysicians, that is not what we do. When we accept what life brings our way, we don't just become a doormat and say, well, this is just the way it is. We use it as an invitation to shift into a more complete alignment with what is the divine truth of our being, because we're one with God, and all the resources and all of the qualities and all of the supply that is within that divine mind. And we participate with creative law from that alignment, from that place of truth. We become and embody what we want to demonstrate in our lives. You know, we understand that being part of being human means that life is going to give us many, many different experiences. but that we're empowered to give our attention to the things that we do want to experience. And we do that in a very deliberate and a very focused way. And to welcome the other things and then let them roll on by, so that we don't let the energy of what we don't want get stuck and suck up all the air, suck up all our attention and all of our creative juice. So here's what I'm trying to say. Here's the thing. Sometimes I think we get confused between what is conscious co-creation of our lives and trying to control our lives. And they are two entirely different things. There are some things that are just part of life and that we will experience, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stay. Again, a time for every purpose under heaven. Allow your life to unfold naturally. This is wise counsel. You know, I know as a parent of an adult child that I have had to learn this lesson, sometimes through great heartache. You know, when my son was struggling with alcoholism, I had to let go and know that this is his current experience. And whether it feels good to me or not, it is where he is at this moment. Oh, just talking about it makes me cry. And I do not and cannot yet see the gift in it, but I am confident that there is a gift in it, just as there was a gift in it for me. Letting life be what it is at the moment does not mean that we don't rise up and co-create something new. You know, I prayed for him like there was no tomorrow. We are empowered through our experience to transform into that something better, that greater yet to be. Be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind, as St. Paul told us in Romans. The mind of God is now my mind. And it is your mind, and there is only one mind. So we can use the gift of beauty as a spiritual practice. And what would that look like in your daily life? You know, what would that look like? You know, I was reading this passage in a book called Ernest Holmes' Life and Times. It was written by his brother Fenwick. And he was writing about how Ernest believed that healing was the lifeblood of the religious science movement, which is what the movement was called at the time. And I do think healing is still the lifeblood of our movement, but we've expanded our definition of healing. And Fenwick wrote that Ernest never deviated from what he called the philosophy of doing. He always asked these empowering questions, which I always encourage us to do. Ask empowering questions. He asked questions like, how do you practice? What results do you get? What are you doing with your theories? And it reminds me very much of that empowering questions that our dear beloved friend Jim Reese asked that time in the Sunday service. What if we acted like this stuff really works? You know, Holmes knew that spiritual principles were great, but you have to put them into action. And we always begin in consciousness. So how will you, I ask you, practice this idea of beauty, opening the door, holding our hand as we cross the threshold into grace? You know, how will we use it as a spiritual practice every day? You know, we can do this. How about if we did this? We could play a little game where every day we just take a few minutes. You know, it could be any time, driving in a car, riding a bike, cooking, doing the laundry, whatever, you know, putting gas in your car, whatever it is. And we can pause and we can listen and smell and look and feel and taste and notice what is beautiful around us. You know, just make a mental list of the things we experience as beautiful and let this open the door to the grace of seeing beauty everywhere. God is all there is, and grace is the experience of God is all there is in our physical world. And then when we get used to the experience of beauty in and through and as a graceful experience, then we can see it everywhere. And what if, whenever we think a thought about someone or see someone, whether or not we know them well or have a good history or a not so comfortable history with them, what if every time we think of someone, we look for something beautiful within them, something beautiful about them? You know, maybe it's a physical beauty, beauty in appearance, or maybe it's beauty in character, or maybe it's beauty in their actions and the way they move through the world. Just look for beauty. What if we practiced doing that every day? So, you know, I know the author, Michael Singer, we've talked a lot about Michael Singer and here we even read a couple of his books. He invites us to feel the same way about people as we would feel if we were walking through a beautiful garden. Like imagine yourself walking through a beautiful botanical garden. And he suggests that we would never judge the placement of the plants or how this leaf turned this way or one was dyed. We would never do that. We would just see, hear, and experience beauty if we were walking through a beautiful garden. And he suggests that we do that with everything in our reality, with all of the people that we come into contact with, everything that we embrace, to see beauty and God in everything and all around us, see the Spirit in each other. You know, and I really believe, I love this idea, you know, it's kind of new for me. I just tried on the idea of beauty expressing into life as grace, but we can use beauty to open the door to grace and feel the life of beauty in and through its connection and its joy. And I want you to know that in each of you, I see beauty. I see the divine. And I hope that you are called to see the same in everything you do this week and always. So let's pray. Let's move into some prayer. So taking a nice deep centering breath in and drawing ourselves into the state of the divine that is beauty. Wash yourself in the elevated state of beauty. Ah. This is the truth of the divine. This is the truth of God's Spirit, the life energy that is moving and shaking and shaping all of physical reality, including you, including me. So I speak my word forward about each and every person that is present on this call and each and every person that is not, that there is an opening, that there is a new way of seeing, experiencing, hearing, tasting, feeling, smelling beauty in all of the ways that we are engaged with physical reality and all of the ways that we're engaged with the divine within us. That there is a new opening, a fresh new awakening of the divine in and through physical reality that we just revel in, we just delight in. This just brings the meaning of love and the presence of the divine into everything that we do in our human lives. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to see life anew, to see life through the eyes of the divine reality, which is beauty, and moves us into grace, a flow of life that just effortlessly moves us and opens us and expands us and delights us into the blissful reality that we are here to embody. So I just thank you for this. I just thank every cell in my body is singing out in joyous gratitude for the delight of being human, divine and human. So I just relax in this. I allow it to be. I know that we have spark law and it is saying yes. And I invite you to say with me, to signify your agreement with me by saying, and so it is. And so it is. So, and this is now our time for our conscious giving, our sacred giving. And I'm going to turn things over to Reverend Leslie, who is going to walk us through our sacred giving.
can't hear you, Leslie. You're muted.
Now is the time for us to be able to say thank you for that spiritual input that we received here this morning. And we have a couple of ways that we can do that. One is through our donations through Venmo. And those donations go directly into our general operating account. And the other is if you wish to pay by check, is to send it to our Assistant Treasurer, Jim Massopust. And that address will be in the chat area for you to send that to. So let us join together now in our sacred giving affirmation. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply. I give in faith, in love, and in joy, and it flows back to me in kind, and so it is. Okay, we have a few announcements to make here. And that is tomorrow evening is our group prayer that we do, and anyone is invited to join us in that. It's where we do individual prayer in silence as a group. And that is at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And then on Tuesday, I am going to be facilitating a class on Neville Goddard's book, Out of Control, which is about how imagination works in your life and affects your future. And we're going to be taking a look at what causes it, how it works, and how it affects you. And then Wednesday, at 7 o'clock in the newsletter, you will find the Zoom information on how to access the Point Interfaith Thanksgiving service that's going to take place. And I want to tell you, they had a nice announcement in the North Nut County Times on that service today. And any of you who saw that last year know what a wonderful experience that is. And then on November 30th, Deborah Perdue is going to talk to us on a Wednesday night about gratitude and how 15 years ago, when she allowed more gratitude in her life, how it affected it. A reminder that we have a music ministry in which you can donate, and those funds are used that allow us to bring in different artisans, and different musicians that participate here in our service. And then Michelle, I know you wanted to talk about the TASA service next week.
So next Sunday, I had the idea that it might be nice the Sunday before Thanksgiving to do kind of a twist on our Sunday service. And so I've invited all of the practitioners to join me in doing a Taizé service. Taizé is a little town in northern France, and I'll put a little blurb in the e-newsletter to let you know what that is. But it's basically a very meditative and introspective service with lots of instrumental music and readings that are introspective and contemplative. And they also generally honor all faiths. The Taizé service was originally started in 1940 to bring together people from all faiths as they were healing from the trauma and destruction of the Second World War. And so the services continue even today, and it's a very popular place of pilgrimage for many, many people. So anyway, the service is designed around that idea of a collective coming together in peace and reverence, contemplation of the divine. And so it should be interesting. It should be really fun. I've done Taizé services in person before. I've never done one online. So this will be new, but I invite you to join us, and it should be fun.
All right. A reminder also that if you have something that's going on in your life that you haven't been able to get rid of, or that is continuing to pester you, say something, a change that you want to make, or that intuitive voice has been coming through you and says, do this, and you haven't done anything with it and you want to have some clarity, call and book a session with a practitioner, because they will work with you and get through to what the core issue is, so that you will be able to make a change and do something with it. So, are there any other announcements? Then we are ready for our benediction, and I'm sorry to say I did not look up to see who that was today. Who is going to do our benediction?
I am.
Relaine. All right.
Well, let's just close our eyes and feel the reverberation of the gratitude for this talk today of Reverend Michelle's, of beauty and grace and order and reverence and honor, knowing that this stuff really does work, and feeling it in our hearts and in our actions in our life, that as we practice the science of mind, as we live it, as we embody it. And I'm so grateful for all of you that are here this morning as we accept and receive this beautiful information and feeling about what life is all about and our experience on this earth. And so I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Relaine. Appreciate it. And now we have some music. I think I posted the lyrics. I'll put them.
Woo. So that was just a delightful talk as always. We just
It
really
was perfect. I have to say, Reverend Michelle, when you were saying everything about living that, like, what if we were really living that, like your friend Jim had said, I see that in you. I see that. We see a lot of people. We go to a lot of different places. We do a lot of different services in different faiths and communities. And you embody that to me, just from what we've seen here on Zoom. I see it. So you are a real example of that. And I want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
it's true. This song is going along with that theme, and to quote Victor Wooten, a great bass player, so if you're having a hard time, he said, you're always half step away from a good note. So if you're hitting a wrong note in your life, just shift a little bit, just either side, half a step.
We invite you to join us once again.
It's a brighter day, brighter right away. It's a brighter day. Well, all of us were crowded in a public place, singing a song we all knew. As I looked around me from face to face, my vision of the future grew brighter. It's a bright away. It's a bright, bright day. Well, we sang in the room, we sang a new song. When it was through, we all sang along. We don't need to wait for the end of the world. And when we need a revolution, it's right here, right now. It's right here, right now. It's right here, right now. Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me life, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, and help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. It's a brighter day, brighter right away. It's a bright, bright day. It's a brighter day, brighter right away. It's a bright, bright day. It's a bright, bright day. It's a brighter day.
That was lovely. Thank you so much. I love that little bit of George Harrison thrown in.
Just a little George in there, just to.
It's always fun when we play that one live. We couldn't put George on our album with that, but it's fun. To
That's
pop
great.
in. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. So we'll wait till we stop the recording, and then anybody that wants to share can jump in and